Another sneak peek, you say? 2 more members of the Annihilators have heeded the call and stand poised for action. This is a pretty big sneak peek, so let's dive right in. The former S.H.I.E.L.D. agent who controls the quantum bands and the Galadorian Space Knight who can analyze opponents have gathered to save the universe from war. The protectors of the universe. Check out the abilities of these new superheroes as they fight against intergalactic threats. So this is pretty big. This means 2, not 1, but 2 brand new characters. Also, this is not the last sneak peek. So we still got at least 1 more to go, baby. Hell yeah. Very excited for that. Let's take a look at the sneak peek in all of its glory now here. Well, we'll talk about the sneak peek as well. Because the sneak peek itself has a bit of a... We have to have a bit of a discussion about the sneak peek. Okay. All right. I don't really know what to talk about first, so I'll talk about the quality of the sneak peeks for this update. If you guys haven't noticed, the quality of sneak peeks has gone down tremendously. Yeah. I have no idea what's going on. If we could get some official word from someone somewhere, that would be great, but it's hard to miss this change. I mean, the sneak peeks used to have actual moving images, you know, like it used to be like a little movie, a little video. It didn't have to be very long, but the character model would move around, etc. Now we just have still images that are zoomed in or zoomed out. Like, I can appreciate they're trying here by moving this lens flare across the screen to make it look a bit more cinematic. But I mean, this is literally just a screenshot from in the game, right? They literally just booted up the game, screenshotted it a couple times, and then just cropped her out, and then they're just moving her, you know. Yeah. And then for QUASAR, they just changed the background, or maybe, who knows, maybe QUASAR does this now, right? Maybe QUASAR does that to the background when you're looking at him in the character preview. He looks really good, by the way. His character model does look sick. It's a little bit disappointing, I have to say, for the sneak peeks to be this mundane. I don't want to say that they're lame, but they are very static, and they don't really inspire a lot of hype, and certainly not the way that they used to inspire hype. Now, this is a very recent thing because, of course, for the last update, the sneak peeks were amazing, right? We had the entire Krakoa. We had all the characters 3D modeled. We had Big Booba Madeline Pryor flying up, right? It was really great. And we had all the Krakoan language even, so there's like a little thing to decode. That was fantastic. And then even the Mystique. You know what? As recently as 3 weeks ago, the Mystique sneak peek was really good. So maybe the sneak peek team is just on holiday. Maybe they're given like Lunar New Year holiday later on than everybody else, and so that's why these sneak peeks are kind of lame. Yeah, I wouldn't like panic too much about this. I don't think it means something for the game. If a couple of updates go by, certainly if we get to the anniversary and they're still doing this like slideshow stuff, then yeah, I would say that they probably cut the budget for the sneak peek team, which I think would be a huge mistake. But, you know, what do I know about running a game that I've been talking about for 8 years? Now, as far as the sneak peek itself, okay, again, one more time. Former S.H.I.E.L.D. agent who controls the quantum bands and a Galadorian Space Knight who can analyze opponents have gathered to save their universe from war. So this is Wendel, what's his name? Wendel Vaughn. Yeah, Wendel Vaughn QUASAR with the Robussy. And then the robot is IKON. So we got, it says QUASAR and IKON here, or IKON and QUASAR. We don't get any reveals for tier 3 or tier 4 or anything like that. I'm praying that they're not tier 3, that they're not tier 2 characters. I hope that they're transcended or they're tier 2 or something like that. Or sorry, what am I saying? I hope that they're transcended or tier 3. I hope that they're not stuck at tier 2. Holy shit. Just cannot think straight with tier 2, tier 3, tier 4. It's stupid that we still even say the word tier 2. Okay? So hopefully they're not stuck at tier 2. Hopefully they're transcended or tier 3. What's interesting here for Wendel Vaughn is we already have a QUASAR. We have Avril Kincaid QUASAR, and now for those of you that read the comics and know this, it's not really a big deal that we already have a QUASAR because anyone who has the quantum bands technically is QUASAR. So it's more of a title. It's not necessarily a person. It's not a person. It's a title. So Avril Kincaid has the quantum bands. She becomes Quasar. She becomes a rather busty Quasar, if you ask me. So as far as I know, this is Wendel Vaughn, who is one of the Quasars. But because there are multiple Quasars in the game, obviously we have Avril Kincaid. We have Philavel, who has been Quasar at one point with the quantum bands. My assumption is that it's going to be a brand new character. We already expressed this in the game with other characters that, like Nova Richard Rider, Nova Sam Alexander is a perfect example here, where they're both Nova, but they're different people. And so because they're different people, they have different base names, Avril Kincaid, Wendel Vaughn, etc. They are expressed as different characters rather than being expressed as just a uniform for the same character. So presumably this means 2 brand new characters. Now, in terms of Wendel Vaughn, I expect him to have a lot of the similarities that he would share with Quasar Avril Kincaid. So I expect Wendel to be either Blast or Universal type. I think Wendel Vaughn's human. Hero, again, we'll see about the abilities, energy projection, and heightened senses. It really is going to matter, especially if he's tier 3 or transcended. If Wendel's stuck at tier 2, it's going to be an absolute mess. We'll have to see if these characters are supports or more than that potentially. What I'm actually more interested in than Wendel Vaughn, though, because we sort of have a version of him already with Quasar, is IKON. IKON, I didn't really know much about this character, so I did a little bit of research, and I want to share it with you guys here. IKON did appear when I looked up, when I was looking into the Annihilators. She is in some of the versions of the Annihilators, not the more recent stuff, but the earlier stuff, the more dated stuff. Now, IKON is a Space Knight. And Space Knights are from this planet. I think it's called Galador or something like that. And they're basically whatever, they're Galadorian. That's their race. And then they're chosen as Space Knights because they possess, prowess. And they basically protect the planet. Sort of like the Avengers kind of thing. That sort of thing. IKON is presumably from what I understand, the most powerful of the Space Knights. And I think the Space Knights originated with Rom the Space Knight, which is interesting because he was originally created as a toy. In collaboration, I think, with Hasbro back in the 80s. And then he made his way into comics. And then actually Marvel only reacquired the rights to Rom the Space Knight last year, like 6 months ago in May of 2023. So it's actually kind of interesting. That may be why we're seeing Rom in the game now. Because we know with Marvel, when they didn't have the rights to X-Men, they didn't want to advertise any of the X-Men in any of their games and any of their properties and any of their movies, because they didn't want to be giving free advertising and sort of building up the persona and the sort of the vibe and the buzz around characters that they couldn't directly profit off of. So it's interesting to see that the timing here, it's 6-7 months later, boom, these characters start appearing in Marvel Future Fight. Wouldn't be surprised if it is connected. But yeah, as far as what IKON can do, she seems to just be a very good hand-to-hand fighter as far as it's expressed here, expert in armed and unarmed combat. And then she has the additional power of being able to evaluate the strengths and weaknesses of any opponent. That's actually referenced in the sneak peek where it says the Galadorian Space Knight who can analyze opponents, and they've gathered to save the universe from war. And I think it also says it on... No, it doesn't say it on Twitter. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do for IKON. I kind of hope... I would say if she can analyze enemies' powers, I would say PvP probably makes more sense for her. But again... It's going to depend on how they put where they put these characters' power level. Are they going to make them tier 3able, transcended, or are they just going to, cripple them at tier 2 with some goofy artifact or some goofy passive or whatever, and then they're not going to be very useful? We'll obviously have to see. We'll also have to see how these characters are acquired, because if it's 2 characters, are they both going to be premium? Is one going to be free? A lot of questions to answer there. New characters are always welcome because in recent years, the power level has been great for the value. Right, that's the really big thing that I like, is that you don't have to buy a uniform to make these characters good. If you look at other recent additions to this type of character, like Man-Thing is really solid for a no uniform character. Sabretooth is really solid for a no uniform character. Obviously, there's a little bit of difference in terms of one being free to play and one being premium, and only free for like a limited time. But I still think, with characters like Kahori, etc., you really have a lot of value there for newer and sort of returning players to get a bit of a foothold, especially if these characters are able to be tier 3 or transcended. I cannot stress that enough. They really need to not be trapped at tier 2 like Exodus and Cassie and shit like that. So we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, my guess would be PvP for her and maybe PvP for him. But maybe they want to make a full PvP thing. Maybe this is the year where they go all in on these teams, because they did it with X-Men, you know, with the last update, right? We saw Rachel getting a PvP. We obviously Madeline getting a PvP thing, Exodus. So basically half of the characters they introduced in the last update were PvP focused. And then you go look at the battlefield effects for Otherworld Battle, and it's, you know, very mutant centric, which is interesting and synergistic with the update. So it wouldn't be a shocker here if in 15 days it changes and it somehow becomes synergistic to the Annihilators, right? Whether it becomes synergistic to humans or to Universals or to aliens. I don't actually know what they're going to do there, but, you know, it would be interesting to see if that's sort of their game plan and it sort of plays out that way. But yeah, hit me up in the comments down below. Let me know what you think of this double whammy sneak peek. We have more to come here, so if you're still holding out hopes for Gladiator, Richard Rider Nova, Silver Surfer, Ronin, there's still a lot of, you know, there's still at least one more sneak peek, so we still could be seeing a lot here, especially if they do another 2-in-1 sneak peek like this. We could be in store for a lot more, and crossing my fingers for like game modes and reward updates and stuff like that. But yeah, hit me up in the comments down below. Let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching. Smash the like button, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.